From New York, the belly of the news beast, Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. It's AFA Today on AFR Talk, and a huge thank you again to every single one of you that made a gift over the last 3 days at Share-a-thon. A tremendous encouragement to those of us that labor here at AFR, and we can't be more grateful. Kevin McCullough is my name. My phone number is 888-589-8840, and from New York, we are talking about a story that's happening all the way in Nevada, and it is one that has only brewed and gotten bigger this week. You've got left-wing websites identifying this rancher as a domestic terrorist and right-wing extremist and threatening a range war against the federal government. Of course, left-wing blogs would say that because none of it's true. He's a domestic terrorist, supposedly, because he has cattle grazing on land that his family has had to graze cattle on for over 100 years. And here's the interesting thing about this. They are calling for the cattle to be taken. As you heard from our first caller, nearly 300 of them have been taken already. There is no indication that they are doing anything to use these cattle for any purposes. They're just putting them down. There are some suckling calves that are now going hungry on the ranch because of this. I mean, you would think that people for the ethical treatment of animals would be out there with the Bundy family. You would think that there would be all kinds of left-wing groups that elevate animals above the value of human beings out there side by side with them. But really what this is about is whether or not the federal government can simply reach down and take land from somebody that it doesn't have the right to do. And in this case, it doesn't have the right to do it for a couple of reasons. Common law is being invoked here, where if the family has naturally improved the land over 100 years and they have been diligent to do so, seeing to it, for instance, that it gets irrigation, seeing to it that there are things that are cared for on land that need to be. If they are in fact doing that, then they are adding to the value of this piece of property. So they're improving it, and their family has for more than 100 years. They grew up on the land. There's a certain degree of common law, common sense here that when you have improved it, when you've lived on it, that it is not it's not free for the taking by other parties. There's also this element in this situation where the county and the state have a certain degree of say on it as well. And on those levels, the state has said, we are comfortable with what the Bundys are doing. We don't have a problem with it. He's met all of his lawful requirements to us. But then the federal government jets in and goes, you know what? We think he should be paying grazing fees, and we're gonna make those retroactive for the last 20 years. And so we're going to say he owes us hundreds of thousands of dollars to graze his cattle on what we are calling federal land. Friends, this is nothing but tyranny. This is nothing but abject land grab by the federal government. And not only are they taking land, they are killing the private property and the livelihood of Mr. Bundy and his family. It is unreal to understand that they have snipers surrounding the Bundy Ranch, that they have rolled in military vehicles and other setups there, that they have these people going in and literally tasing people that are protesting their presence there. What is happening here? How do we respond to this? America, are we comfortable enough to sit back and watch one American citizen be trounced like this and not do anything about it? Because here's the reality, friend, and I fear for our country on this level. They will start with a nobody in the middle of nowhere, and there will be one that they do this to, and it will grow to others. And eventually it will grow to as many as they wish, whenever they wish, because that's what tyrants do. The Bureau of Land Management has no claim to this land, according to the state of Nevada. They have no claim to the land, according to the family of Mr. Bundy. And yet, that is not stopping this White House from sending helicopters, military vehicles, assault weapons, and snipers to the area. 888-589-8840, your reaction to this, and a sympathizer to the administration, the commissioner of the county that this is taking place in is calling the sheriff, who's standing by the family, calling the governor, who's standing by the family, and calling the family themselves names. And he's telling anybody that might roll in there to stand with them, to simply make a peaceful demonstration of protest. He's saying, you better plan for funerals. Is this the kind of government that we are owed in this day and age? That commissioner works for the citizens of that county. That commissioner is accountable to taxpayers who pay his salary. He should be fired yesterday. Threatening the lives of people that would come to help? That's insane. 888-589-8840. Your thoughts on this as we continue. Frank is calling from Kentucky. Frank, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough.
Hi, Kevin. Reason why I'm calling, this past summer, I don't know if you're probably aware of it, but there was a, like the Homeland Security, they got so many rounds of billions of dollars of ammunition. And when someone makes that threat like that, it makes me think about that. And also, this is an evil thing that's going on. And also, to me, you might not like what I'm saying, but in the White House, we have a thief and a murderer. To me, he does. He kills babies and steals people's cattle. Now, on the other side, this should not happen. This is evil, okay? And also the state is supposed to trump the federal government. They got it backwards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
They got it backwards. If it wasn't for the states, it wouldn't be no government. So that the states is supposed to be sovereign over the federal government. I don't know if people even know that. They got it whole thing backwards. They can think they can go and do what they want to do.
Frank, it's not just that, and I do thank you for your call, and I didn't get mad at you at all. I thought you made a rational argument for everything you were saying. Not only that, though, it's not just the state that is above the federal government, and the states do have the ability to reject the federal. They have the ability to say, no, thank you, we don't need you on that. That's what several states did on Obamacare, led by Rick Perry in Texas, who said, you know what, we just don't need it. We don't need it. It's bad for our citizens. We're not going to participate. Sorry, it's not for us. And even then, the president wanted Eric Holder to drag Texas into court and to take him to court over it. Now, I don't know if you've watched in the last 24, 48, 72 hours, but Eric Holder, when he gets under really intense questioning about some of the malfeasance he's exhibited while in office as the Attorney General, he's now saying, oh, you're picking on me because I'm a black man. Well, did they pick on Alberto Gonzalez because he was Latino? Did they pick on John Ashcroft because he was white? Ed Meese because he was white? Did they pick on those guys for those reasons, or did Congress pick on the Attorney General because they're supposed to hold the Attorney General accountable? I'm so tired of Holder and Obama doing this, because everything now can just be dismissed in their mind if we just say, oh, well, they're racist and they're picking on us. Nobody's falling for that anymore. Nobody thinks that that's a legitimate argument in this case. You've been given every fair shot that everybody else has been. The difference here, Mr. Holder, and this has nothing to do with your race, it has everything to do with your ideology. You don't believe in enforcing the law, and then you selectively enforce laws that you want to, and in cases like this, you go after people on a lawless basis to try to force something that has no basis in law. And that's what's disturbing here. 888-589-8840. I'm curious as to your thoughts on this. What we're talking about is a Nevada land grab in which a Nevada rancher who owns nearly 1,000 head of cattle is now having his cattle taken from him by federal forces from the land that he ranches. They are driving in, picking up a few, and driving out. Last several days, they've done several head of cattle. There's close to 1,000 that he has. They've already taken close to 300. 888-589-8840. It is the coming apart, in my mind, of the federal of the United States of America right before our eyes. Let's talk to Chuck in Mississippi. Chuck, welcome. Glad you're with us. Kevin McCullough, glad to be with you. Hi.
Hey, it's good to be here. This is a state issue. When I bought my land, My attorney told me all land belongs to the state. You pay rent every year when you pay your taxes. And I understand that. My question is this where the revolution starts? And that's all I got to say.
I don't know, Chuck. I mean, one of those things, and I'm not at all interested in seeing a bloodbath, because the nice thing about the United States is we've always been able to change leadership with bloodless coups. It's the people that decide. We hire who's there. But in so many instances in this administration, from Fast and Furious to Benghazi to this current situation, to all of the things that were thrown into Obamacare, you have just seen larger and larger swaths of power be swallowed up by the federal government in a way that I don't think anybody could have even dreamed would have taken place. And yet they have. And you've got Congress twiddling its thumbs going, I don't know what to do. And I don't want to see violence come about. But the administration needs very clearly to have the message sent to them, you're not in charge. You don't run the country. You are accountable and subject to the authority of the taxpayers. And you don't just get to change the rules whenever you want to. You don't just get to take a law that was passed with language written very specifically in one way and then suddenly just start changing whole portions of it without any consultation from Congress or voting on it. That's not constitutional. And in this case, friends, in this case, America, the feds are coming into a state against the will of the governor, against the will of the citizens of that area, and they are taking things from private property owners. 888-589-8840. And the big cause, the environment. We're hurting the desert tortoise. 35 past the hour. Let's go to Dave in North Carolina. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Kevin, I thank God for you every day, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Standing in the gap for us. I live in a small town called Sneeds Ferry. It's a fishing village comprised of fishermen put together, created. And we have the same issues here over putting commercial fishermen out of business over sea turtles and such. And it's so overstepping. It's over a tortoise, and I am in disbelief at the amount of tyranny pouring out of our federal government. It's ridiculous. I don't know what to do. I mean, you can pray. We all pray. But at what extent does the standing idly by stop and the action begin?
You know, it's an interesting question that you raised, Dave. And I'm not trying to incite violence. I want us to come to solutions on this in peaceful ways. I want the president to understand that he's overstepped his boundaries. I need Congress to understand that the president has overstepped his boundaries. We need Congress to call on the president and hold him accountable for his overstepping of his boundaries. And maybe you should call your congressman and let him know you would like them to use their congressional power to put an end to what is happening here. You can do that at 202-224-3121, by the way. 202-224-3121. Ask for your congressman, 202-224-3121. But what you have, in essence, is a question of, will the tyranny of a federal government trump the rights of the individual? Will the tyranny of a federal government trump the rights of localized states that have self-organized? That was the very same some of the very same questions that were being asked in the American Revolution. Tyranny without representation. A government that grew so big that it overstepped its boundaries and was executing brutality against its citizens. Friends, there was a certain degree in the revolution where there was property taken and families done great violence too. And on that level, we decided we would organize our nation differently with a purposeful, disproportionate amount of power that went first to the states, secondarily to the federal government, but primarily to the individual. that we the people would decide the course of events that our states would take. And as we worked together, then the course of our nation. But the idea was never to have a big, bulky, militarized federal government that would be executing its own agenda against the citizens of our country. That was never part of the plan. That was something we were fighting against. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's go to John in Tennessee. Hi, John. Welcome. You're on with Calvin McCullough.
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
I'm good.
I just wanted to make a point that we do not have a federal government right now. We have a group of terrorists in the White House, and this is an act of terrorism against the American people, is all that this is. The government has taken our Constitution, our laws of the land, and anything else that's morally correct and thrown it out the window.
Well, what's interesting about this, and thank you for your call, John, is that the opponents of the rancher, the county commissioner, the lefty blogs, the administration themselves, they're calling Mr. Bundy a domestic terrorist. I just find that ironic that he's never done anything to hurt a human being. He's just out there raising his cattle on a piece of desert that none of us would even want to inhabit, but he's taking care of it. I'm Calvin McCullough. More of your calls as this unique situation developing between the federal government and an individual rancher in Nevada continues on AFA Today. You're on AFR Talk.